Hello everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel via KDU TSOL. I hope you have had a chance to watch our previous video that explored specific learning difficulties and their consequences. If you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend you do because it sets the stage for what we are going to discuss here. So, in this video, we are going to focus on how to identify learners with specific learning difficulties. Stay tuned until the end of this video. These are the areas that we are going to cover today. Importance of recognizing specific learning difficulties, how to identify learners with dyslexia, informal activities to identify learners with dyslexia. So, without wasting much time, let's move on. So, why is it important to recognize specific learning difficulties? Teachers might be the people who pick up the specific learning difficulties learners. When students have problem with learning that no one knows about, they can feel really frustrated and worried. But when we find out about these problems and help them, it shows that we understand their difficulties. This can make them feel better, less stressed, and more confident. And also, teachers can collaborate with parents to create a supportive learning environment for the learners. Okay, let's look at how to identify learners with dyslexia. So, here are some methods that we can use to identify learners with dyslexia in a classroom. The first one is observation. In a classroom, if there are students who have unusual behaviors, struggling with something regularly, we can start observing them. While they're doing activities, we can check their books, behaviors, and social skills. We can observe learners for 4 to 5 weeks and record their regular difficulties in an observation grid. And also, we can provide a questionnaire to other subject teachers and parents to gather more information about learners' behavior. Not only them, but we can also make a questionnaire for learners. When we are giving a questionnaire, it's better to give it in their first language. Through observation, if we find problems related to learning difficulties, we can do some more diagnostic tests to explore and understand the issues officially. Here, this is a sample observation checklist. Go through it and take a clear image. You can prepare an observation checklist on your own. Next, interviewing. Interviewing is another technique to identify learners' difficulties. First, we can give a checklist to learners and ask them to mark their difficulties and keep records. After recognizing their difficulties, we can interview them individually and gather information. Comparison. How we interpret the results of observation and interview is usually we can compare. We can compare the performance with the other students in the class based on their proficiency. Through that, we can check whether their performance is different or not from the others, and it should be informal. This is only for teachers' identification purposes. Here are some activities we can use to identify learners with dyslexia. Speed of processing. This is to check how quickly learners can process visual or auditory information. For this activity, we need a collection of pictures familiar to learners, a timer, and a place with no distractions. Then, we can give about 10 to 30 pictures and ask learners to name them. During the activity, we need to measure the duration of each learner takes and compare it with other students in the classroom. Those who are dyslexic will take more time than the other learners. So here we need a comparison. Phonemic awareness. Through this activity, we can check whether students can separately identify the sounds or not. First, show some picture cards like this. Then, ask them to pronounce the words. As a next step, we need to ask learners to pronounce the words without the first sound and then without the last sound. As an example, the word bat. Without the first sound, it pronounced as bat. Then, without the last sound, it pronounces as at. Learners with dyslexia may find it difficult to pronounce it like this compared to others. Next, phonological awareness. Here in this activity, first we can ask learners to pronounce the given words, and next we can ask learners to pronounce the words and clap for each syllable. As an example, the word cheetah. It has two syllables, so we can pronounce it as cheetah. The second activity is to choose the words that rhyme. Here we can give some pictures with common items that rhyme, like bat, cat, fan, pan, hen, pen. Then ask learners to match the pictures that rhyme. Learners with dyslexia might struggle with rhyming and recognizing combination of sounds more than others. The next activity is identifying word boundaries. As shown in this example, we can give a text without spaces between words. It's better to give it in their first language. Then ask learners to identify the words and mark boundaries. Finally, here is another activity we can use in our classroom. This is to check learners' memory span. We can show a set of objects to learners like books, pens, watch, and etc. and make them familiar with those objects. After that, we can take away those objects from students and ask them to name those objects. We can start with a few objects and gradually increase the number of objects. Learners who have dyslexia may remember fewer things at a time. Therefore, compared to other learners, dyslexic students may find it difficult to remember things, not only visual things but also auditory things. These are some important tips you need to consider. When you are observing learners in your classroom, do not tell them that they are being observed because they may feel uncomfortable. You can create a portfolio to record each learner's strengths and weaknesses. And when you are doing activities, give instructions and material in their first language. Do not declare that student has dyslexia without doing proper diagnostic tests. So now we have come to the end. Hope you all have a perfect idea about how to identify learners with specific learning difficulties and activities which we can use. Here, you can also find videos about these topics in our YouTube channel. You can find links to this video in the description below. See you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Remember to like, share, and don't forget to leave a comment. Have a great day.